This week on Maker Update, a plasma brain pet robot, keeping cool with cryogenics, a miniature recreation of Terminator 2, and hosting your own software to cut the cord on big tech. Hello and welcome back to Maker Update, our weekly dose of our favorite Maker projects, tips, and tools from across the internet to hopefully inspire you and your next creation. I'm Tyler Weingartner and I hope you're all doing well. We've got a great show for you. Let's get started with the project of the week. One of my favorite Maker projects is people making stuff from their childhood. And this animatronic recreation of the robot dog Goddard from the Jimmy Neutron animated series by Kiara's Workshop is the perfect reason why. Not only is this a fantastic looking character, what with his wobbly flexible legs and his plasma ball brain, but he's a fun technical challenge. What could be better? For the legs, she's keeping things pretty straightforward. Each one has this small linear actuator sheathed in a flexible 3D printed material in a shape that looks like your standard dryer vent. The base of each linear actuator is also mounted to a servo, so it can pivot a bit. But the neck is where we really need to pay attention, because the armature here is not only responsible for the up-down and side-to-side motion of the head, but also the opening and closing of the jaw, as well as providing power for the plasma brain. For the actuation of the head, she's using a fairly standard cable system originally pioneered by Stan Winston. The jaw mechanism, which is operated by the servo back in the body, is aided by this set of springs to offset the load. We also need to talk about the fit and finish of this character because of the dark chrome polished look here is stunning. She's using a new paint made by a friend of hers called Ultralumen, and while it has some specific guidelines for surface prep for best results, it still looks really stunning regardless. And the result is that Goddard looks amazing. His riveted sides, the chromatic paint job, his accordion style legs, and this mini plasma ball as his brain that is an actual plasma ball. So it does the plasma ball stuff when you touch it. If you want to build your own, Kiara shares all of her project files through her Patreon. More projects. What's cooler than being cool? Building a cryocooler in your own shop using 3D printed parts. Hyperspace Pirate is attempting to make their own liquid nitrogen by building a Gifford McMahon style cryocooler. This device makes use of a phenomenon of compressed air that, when agitated by a specialized piston in a sealed tube, creates a region of supercooled air. Ordinarily, the friction of this agitation would heat the air up, but the air is also cooled on one side of the piston when it's decompressed. And then that cool air is stored in a fine metal mesh inside the piston called a regenerator. Repeat this process and you have a pretty effective cooler. He's able to move the piston from outside the pressurized chamber using magnets. Using this setup, he's able to get the cooler down to -84 degrees Celsius before the whole thing begins to ice up. It's impressive stuff. If you're a videographer and a maker, building a motorized camera slider is sort of a rite of passage, speaking from experience here. But Lewis from DIY Machines has developed and released his own design, and it's got a lot going for it. It has a touchscreen that can be used to set up your motion with start and stop points, speed, and acceleration. There's a pan axis for more elaborate motion, and all of the parts are 3D printable without supports. It uses tridynamic stepper drivers so that the movement is powerful and quiet. And the project can be customized for just about any length. Lewis has published full instructions, a bill of materials, and all the 3D printed parts if you want to build your own. And while there's no build instructions here, I was really impressed by this recreation of the truck bridge jump sequence from Terminator 2 by Movies Miniatures Effects. They've recreated the entire LA Canal and surrounding neighborhood, as well as 3 of the iconic trucks in case they get too beaten up. They're using a huge variety of cameras to get the coverage they need, especially with the use of this cleverly hidden probe lens. You get to see the setup and then their screen accurate recreation of the sequence. And if you enjoy this sort of thing, they've got a number of other famous movie scenes that they've recreated. Now for a few tips and tools if you're looking to reduce your dependency on big tech companies, either to cut back on subscription fees or be in better control of your data privacy. Switch and Click has a guide to self-hosted apps to put the control back in your hands. She covers software like Plex and Jellyfin to cut the cord on streaming services, library apps to get away from platforms like Kindle and Audible, apps for photo storage, and even apps to manage all the apps running on your self-hosted server. It's a great collection of tools if you want to get some of your digital freedom back. And while you're managing your server, Jeff Geerling has a test of every IP KVM device he could get his hands on. These are small devices that let you access and control a computer from anywhere on your network. They're a hardware-based solution that replaces remote desktop software like VNC. Jeff lets you know how much you're likely to spend, the features that each one offers, and how to safely set these up, since they can easily expose your computer and network to outside attackers. If you're old enough to have grown up with the Viewmaster, or you're an enjoyer of vintage toys, Peter Dibble and Viewmaster Travels has a video on how they made the reels for this fantastic little 3D viewer. Not just the stereo photography systems they used, but also how they created the dollhouse-sized dioramas that made up the scenes. You can't see the 3D effect in this video, but it's a great look behind the scenes of this captivating device and the stories it allowed you to see. And finally, in this YouTube short by madebyjgwillis, he shares his technique for how to create super satisfying 3D printable twist snap connections. In his example, he's making a bayonet-style connector. But each tooth in the design has a detent that allows it to lock into place. He shows how to create this design in Autodesk Fusion, but it should be easy to translate into any other CAD software package. And most importantly, he shares his tolerances so it makes for an easy, snug, satisfying fit. For this week's DigiKey Spotlight, we have an all-new entry in their Another Teaching Moment series, all about high-end communication protocols: Discrete, Modbus, and IO-Link. These are different protocols generally used in industrial automation, allowing different components to all work together smoothly. Discrete only allows for turning devices off and on, but is a simpler and more robust protocol. Modbus allows for greater sophistication and can operate on either serial or Ethernet. IO-Link is a high-level protocol allowing you to operate sensors and actuators like smart devices. Check out the full video and related articles to learn more. All right, and that is going to do it for this week's show. A reminder, as always, that you can get more info about every single one of these projects by following the links down in the description. While you're there, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and hit subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Huge thanks, as always, to DigiKey for making this show possible and to you for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon.